How did a cricketer and a cricket fan really join forces and take the startup plunge?
And Ashish told me a story about the first ball he bowled was to Sachin Tendulkar. Then I said, you know what, I'm going to partner with him and join him as a co-founder. And that sealed the deal, besides, of course, the opportunity that we had in front of us.
Almost 95% of employees said that the biggest thing about Indusface is that we feel that we are wanted, we are making a difference to the company, and we are part of the growth.
So how do you really differentiate between just growth and sustainable growth?
You have touched a very soft spot. Ashish can keep talking about it for hours.
A very warm welcome to all our viewers. Today we're going to have a conversation with a different spin on growth. And for that, we're joined by the two co-founders of Indusface to take us through what it means in terms of growing beyond valuations and what it means to be setting up a startup and growing versus growing sustainably. So what does Indusface do? With more than 2,000 businesses as part of its clientele, Indusface is helping organizations grow across the globe, detect security risks, and shield their systems from being hacked. As simple as that. But some of its clients, of course, include large enterprises such as IndusInd Bank, Larsen and Toubro, Tata Group companies like Titan, Tata Power, Tata Sky, as well as startups and SaaS companies such as Darwinbox, O9 and NamasteCredit. Now, basically, essentially, it provides a SaaS-based, fully managed cloud web application firewall, which is a compelling security solution for enterprises and any businesses that don't really want to procure new hardware and hire or train staff to manage application security. Founded in 2012, Indusface is an application security SaaS company. And mind you, the startup has been profitable from year one of operations. So that, of course, is something that we will talk to with Venki and Ashish. And after being bootstrapped for over 8 years, the company finally raised its first round of funding amidst the COVID-19 pandemic last year in 2020. So we'll touch base on that as well. And as I mentioned, we have with us Ashish Tandon, founder and CEO of Indusface, as well as Venkatesh, known as Venki Sundar, founder and CMO of the company, who will be sharing their growth journey as well as helping us understand how a bootstrapped startup can really raise funds and drive sustainable growth. Interestingly, I have to mention that the both of them have a deep connection with cricket. Ashish, of course, is a former Ranji player and cricket fanatic, and Venki is a cricket fan. And they both sort of got together and built the business by incorporating some of the lessons that they learned on the pitch. So thank you, Ashish and Venki, for joining us today. Let's dive straight in. First up, of course, the quintessential question: how did a cricketer and a cricket fan really join forces and take the startup plunge?
I think Ashish being a cricket player is more unique. Me being a cricket fan is a given for anybody in India. I mean, it's like almost the number one religion in the country. So me being a cricket fan, in fact, a hardcore cricket fan, is actually an understatement. But when me and Ashish met and we started talking about the opportunity, about the total addressable market, the talent that we brought to the table in terms of me with the product knowledge and Ashish with the sales and the regional sales knowledge. But what really sealed the deal was actually cricket. And Ashish told me a story about the first ball he bowled was to Sachin Tendulkar. Then I said, you know what, I'm going to partner with him and join him as a co-founder. And that sealed the deal, besides, of course, the opportunity that we had in front of us. Ashish, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I think when that conversation, I remember that conversation happened, in the car. And honestly, I never thought that cricket can help me in such a way. And it has actually just not helped me with you, Venki. There is not a single conversation I have with a customer or an analyst, or for that matter, even with an investors, where cricket is generally, it just takes over. I don't know, how did you do that? How was your experience? What happened when you got a wicket, when you got Vinod Kamli out? And so I think cricket just seals it, not only with Venki. Venki was the most important part of it, but it has been a consistent feedback. And as Venki rightly said, in India, cricket is religion, right? So my kids still ask me, Papa, what if you were playing today? Would you have played IPL? I'm like, I don't know. Anyways, yeah, so that's the connection both of us have.
Right, it's great to really see the camaraderie between the two of you, and that, of course, is really the basic foundation that is also required at some level when you're starting up. So, from sports to a SaaS company, what really was the journey like, Venki? You know, because back in 2012, the internet scene and security product development in India was still rather nascent. So, what made you really see the larger picture or the opportunity and potential in the cybersecurity space, especially when building a SaaS product 8 years back, which was quite, a decade back almost?
Yeah, I think when I moved back from the US into India, I mean, of course, me and Ashish clicked certainly as a personality and in terms of besides cricket, but also in terms of the mutually exclusive skills that we brought to the table. And one of the things that, I mean, of course, I had a product knowledge throughout my career. I worked on product companies, building products, servicing products. So certainly there was that aspect of building our own. The next big wave in India was certainly SaaS and product companies. It was just in the very early stages, right? I would put India into like the early 90s was more about outsourcing, and it was low cost outsourcing. Then we talked about business process outsourcing, which is slightly more critical work were being outsourced to India. And the third wave was product development centers being opened in India, which was Microsoft and the Google. But the fourth wave, which was just about beginning, and at that time it was more about the B2C business, but the real fourth wave of Make in India product companies. And we actually felt that we had the talent, and a lot of people who worked in US coming back to India with the product knowledge was happening. So I think it was just magical because there was this mad belief, there was this talent and mutually exclusive talent. And of course, cricket sealed the deal.
Sure. And when you talk about sealing the deal, really, one major deal when it comes to starting up and growing is funding and the need for funds. But you all sort of bootstrapped and amazingly, you were profitable, with paying customers before you actually went and raised funds earlier last year. So what are some of the important milestones in your, bootstrapping journey before you decided to raise those funds, Ashish?
Yeah, so I think let me go back before. So in 2012 is when we founded our current avatar in terms of when we are doing what we are doing. But our SaaS journey actually goes back 4 years or 5 years behind that. So I remember in 2007, 2008, we had built another security SaaS product and got customers. We were competing with all these American companies, but we built a product. And we actually sold that company to the #1 security company of the world, which is called Trend Micro today. So actually, this is our second innings, so to speak. But so we had built the product, made it world class, sold it across the world, and then got an exit. So we already had we already knew how to build a large scalable SaaS security SaaS product. So the journey was, this time we were much more smarter. So what we did was that we used some of the proceeds we got from the sale to fund, make sure that we have the right kind of team, we have the right kind of capabilities. We built this. We almost spent about a year just making sure the product is right. And then did what we are best at, is go and get customers, because at the end of the day, the product, you might have the best technology, but unless people subscribe to it or customers subscribe to it, it has no meaning. So we kind of started getting customers, and both put together really funded our growth. So we were doing well. We're making sure that, we have got customers, they stay with us, we keep them happy, we expand the scope with them. And hence, it wasn't that difficult, given both, having capital from the earlier sale of our company, compounded with paying customers. So I think both put together, we had a great. It just worked out well for us.
Right. So, of course, there is a strategy behind it. And as you mentioned, you had paying customers, before you went ahead and actually raised funds. So basically what we're saying is that your business model needs to generate revenue and quickly. And you need to make those initial sales and have some loyal customers. So tell us, how did you really make that happen?
As I said, we understood the security space. We knew how the product should be built in the right, what is the right product mix, what should be the infrastructure, how it should be done. So we were all pretty clear. We made sure we had the right kind of team in place. We got the best from the industry. As Anki said, we got a lot of our existing senior management have all spent time in some of the large security companies in the US. They came back. They were all looking at how do we kind of get aligned with another Indian security company and make make it big and also make profits or earn from. So we had a very good stock option program and got all those going. So I think that was the first building block, making sure the right kind of team and the capabilities are there. Second was the product was we knew how the product needs to be delivered on a SaaS perspective. And because we had already built credibility, by building a software and world-class software and selling it, some of the customers this time around were more open to trying out our product. And because we knew that at the end of the day, we are providing security, our product needs to work, right? So as soon as they signed up. So our strategy was very clear. Take a free trial or do a 15-day trial, no commitment trial. See if our product works. If it works, great. If it doesn't, we go back to the drawing room and get better. So compounded with our experience in the past and customers trusting us and making sure the product works, that started to build on slowly. And we also made sure that we went to the right kind of we got the right kind of the first few wins were in the right where customers could be referenced, right? So we got some of the large banks, we got some of the large insurance companies, we worked with some of the large enterprises, and they became referenceable, right? For example, as you started off and you said, my first ball to Sachin or getting Vinod Kamli out for a duck. I mean, these are two important milestones, right? So those were my initial part of the careers. People still talk about it. So we made.
I think on that point, I want to intervene, and that was very unique about the Indusface journey. And I will give a lot of credit to Ashish and his sales skills as well. Because generally people start small, look at smaller customer and then move up market. Whereas Indusface, when we started off, our first few customers, paying customers with strong unit economics, where the number one bank in India, ICICI Bank, was my number one banking customer. Number one public sector bank. I remember State Bank of India had our logo long back for a small version of the module. That was my number one PSU bank. That was my customer. Name any vertical, one of the top 5 was one of our first customer, and that created a springboard and a referenceable point for us to build scale. And now we are looking at volumes and going down market internationally. Whereas if you look at other companies, exactly the opposite formula they follow. They start small, burn a lot of money, and then go up market to actually make the real money. We made real money and now looking at scaling it with volume as well. So I think go after the best, which I feel was very, very unique to our journey. And probably the cricket example that Ashish gave, bowling the first ball to Tendulkar and telling that story to the CIOs and CSOs really helped with that connect.
Sure. So what you're saying is went ahead, hit a few sixers in the beginning and then sort of played it slow and steady. So great to really learn about those lessons from the pitch. So overall, you had a lot of experience coming in from the US, the entire journey of cybersecurity risk over there, overseas in those markets. You had investments in terms of, your own sale of the first startup that you sold. So did bootstrapping in any way really limit your growth potential? Because that's really the thinking that other startups have, that let's go in and get investors first and they will really back us up. But you all seem to have really flipped that model around. What has been your experience?
I would go first. In fact, me coming back from the US to India, I mean, I have seen the Valley guys and everything. And then here I came to a person who was a Punjabi, born and brought up in Gujarat, lethal combination, and of course a technical background as well. And I was a person who had come back from the US, a South Indian with a technical blend and looking at, and there was a very nice antipodal stream of thoughts that converged into building a common factor of winning customers. But bootstrapping, I think, really made us smarter, stronger, and really proved the market. I would not say it limited us in any way. It actually helped us feel a lot more pride in the way we solve the problem. I mean, product market fit is a buzzword, but till the point of time you get the customers to pay for that first version of the product and you make profit out of it, there is no product market fit, right?
Yeah.
And that is where this bootstrapping mindset really helped us nail that.
And to add to that, I think another thought process was, and I was pretty clear on that front, is that, what happens is when you get investors, for them, it's all about scale, right? And I'm not blaming them. They have the right to do that. So, and we are in a security business, right? So our thought process was that before we get that turbo, put that fuel and get us turbocharged, we need to make sure that all our scalability parameters, when this sudden surge happens, are intact, and we have the right, we have the wherewithal and the infrastructure and the team and the capabilities to scale it with that speed, right? Because at Indusface, if even Gartner now, they came out of the report, and as per the report, we have got the highest rating amongst all our competitors worldwide. On support and service. So our support and service has been just paramount. So we wanted to make sure that we have the right right mix in place before we start this turbocharge. So I don't think there was. It's not that we couldn't have raised money earlier. It was more a deliberate call to make sure that we reach the right stage to get in. And as I said, we had the capital we have internal capital because of earlier sale. We had the luxury to do it. Maybe other companies don't have. So we also had the luxury, so to speak.
So of course, being bootstrapped also gives you more freedom to fly in a certain sense and shape your journey the way you want to at the initial level of starting up. So a point taken there. But as Venki mentioned, both of you are from different ends of India, and currently now you are headquartered in Vadodara and not really Bangalore, which is really the norm for tech companies such as yours. So how has this really impacted your startup journey, or has it in any way?
Honestly, I think the pandemic has been bad, and we all are going through it. But actually, that has proven a very big point, which we kind of kept on saying for the last 7-8 years. So first, when the pandemic happened, everybody asked, how is your business affected? And we said, what? It was business as usual. I mean, there was not, because we always had this flexible working that, the geographical location has never limited us as a company, right? We have an office in Bombay, Bangalore, Baroda, and now if you ask me if I have to get, so we have, say, for example, we have 40 people strength in Bangalore. If I have to say tomorrow we'll do let's kind of meet them, of those 40, almost 70-80% of the people are in their villages or in their different hometowns. So I think that I don't think we ever got limited by the way we built the company, and the way we went about doing our business was that we hired people where they were required to be, or where we could get them, instead of saying come to Baroda or come to Bangalore or whatever, right? Headquartered doesn't mean that you need to have everybody here. So I don't think it never mattered to us. For example, ICICI Bank, I don't know many people know, but they were founded in Baroda, right? So, but it's a Bombay. So I don't think those things didn't matter. I mean, and we can see from our growth, I think the only thing which kind of we have to now start saying we are a Bangalore-based company is when we are talking to international customers, because the pronunciation of Vadodara takes a little bit of a challenge for them. So that's the reason why we use Mumbai or Bangalore, to make it easier for them. Other than that, I think we never had a.
Just a question of Ashish happens to live in Vadodara, and that's why it is there. Had he lived in Chandigarh or in Bangalore or Chennai, it would have been that location. That's about it.
Yeah, sure. Well, and I'm sure, the pandemic has sort of validated your decision of being based in Vadodara, and now everybody is working from anywhere. So that's really good to see the evolution of work as well. But amidst the pandemic, what you all have gone ahead and done, which was probably maybe a little tougher than if it had happened in normal times, is you all went ahead and raised funds in 2020, April of 2020, to the tune of about $5 million. So, take us through what really brought you to this point, because so far we've really discussed the fact that you all have been bootstrapped, and in fact, you will also, a revenue positive startup. So what really, gave you the need or what made you decide to raise that funding?
So you have two questions in that. So let me first answer the first question: is how was our journey? Doing this. The investment doesn't happen in a month, right? I mean, there's the process of due diligence, etc., etc. So I think we were already going through the process. We were about 3-4 months into the process. Yes, when the pandemic hit us. We had become a little bit of it was a little bit, we had apprehension that how will it go through, when will it go through, though we were extremely confident that as a company we're doing the right stuff. And the other thing which worked for us is that because of the pandemic, everybody started working from home, so digitalization becomes of paramount important. Everybody started realizing that the older methods will not work. You'll have to have an app or you'll have to have a website to communicate whatever, work or interact with subscribers or customers, etc. Right? So I think all those things, and I think our investors, Tata's, the Tata Capital Growth Fund, they really understood what it means, and it was. I don't think it was. It was more about, I think the only jitters and delay was because of the process, right? Because everything was shut. How do we do our paperwork, get our legal guys to talk to each other, etc., etc. So I think from that perspective, it wasn't. It was already there. Yes, honestly, pandemic actually, to be honest, it really, if not anything else, it helped us move faster because there was a huge opportunity in front of us. That's the first part. Second thing, your second question was, we were bootstrapped, profitable. Why did we raise money? So as I said, it is not that we are against raising money. There are advantages of raising money, right? When you have capital, you can go much faster. It was just that we were timing it in the right way, and we wanted to make sure that when, as I said earlier, for response to an earlier question, that we wanted to make sure we had all the right, we had the basics in place, we had all the right stuff in place to go and turbocharge our marketing and sales engine. And hence, it was always on the cards. So, and we are already seeing the benefits. I mean, it has been in a year of pandemic, but one of the areas we were going to invest heavily was on our marketing and trying to get international customers, right? And that is what we were going to do it digitally. I mean, that business has grown 300%, and the person responsible for that is my friend Venki. He runs my digital business, and it has grown. Our customers have doubled. Earlier our customer mix was, we had only a few percentage from outside of India. Now almost 35% of our customers are outside of India. Ending next year, it might be 50-50. Clearly shows that they're getting, all this could not have happened if we'd not, spent dollars and marketing dollars to get more customers. So I think it was more about timing. It wasn't that we did not want to we always wanted to be a bootstrap. I don't think that was the case. It was just that we wanted to time it properly.
Yeah, and now that you mentioned my name, and as a marketeer, I will tell you why I feel the funding helps as well. See, as a marketeer and as a marketing, it's always good to have somebody else endorse what you say, as opposed to me saying certain things about myself. Whether it is customers, saying customer reviews in my website is one thing, but having a third-party platform, an independent platform, which talks about how good we are, builds a trust and credibility, right? Whether it is great place to work, saying that we are a great place to work and putting it in my website about employees, how good it is one thing, but having a third-party validation, which is something that we got, that this is a great place to work for and one of the best places, builds trust. Similarly, we did not need money. Me and Ashish going and talking about with all passion that we are doing great is one thing. And of course, some people trust and joined us. But now we have the backing of not just any investor, an institutional investor like Tata Capital, who has not just put a small amount of money, but 40 crores, a serious amount of money, validating our business. And hence, even though we did not need the money, it is a proof point of the value that we have, right? Which helps us further attract talent, besides, of course, accelerating and everything, which you could have done even in a bootstrap manner. So as a marketeer, it's also that validation, the third-party validation, whether it's customer reviews, great place to work, but also the strength of the business with an institutional investor, valuing our company for growth, builds a lot of credibility.
So basically you are saying, third-party validation really helps at the end of the day. An outsider looking inward, of course, always giving feedback is really critical to growth as well. So, from Ashish's comments, what we are given to understand is you're going to use that funding now to, gain more global clients. Is that what you're going to do with this funding?
Yeah, so we have three areas. I hear about three areas. One is use the proceeds for our reach and get more customers outside of India globally. Second is we are going to use that to strengthen our product, invest on technology. And third is an area where combining our profitability and the resources and the capital we have is to look at opportunities of partnering, and these partnering could be either acquiring a company which has complementary product offering, or even working with large uh, managed security service providers, integrating our products with them, etc., etc. But the idea is all two areas to grow our business, and one is to make sure our technology also gets the fuel.
Sure. And how are you looking at the overall market, Venki? And as your role as a marketer as well, both ends, SaaS market in itself is one of the fastest growing when it comes to India. And even the cybersecurity space, we've seen digitization as a whole being accelerated due to the pandemic. Cybersecurity also, there's been an uptick because of the entire work from home environment right now, and that becomes more crucial. So what are you really making of the market as it stands right now?
So yeah, I think from a growth standpoint, in terms of adoption of what we have to offer, which is application security, what we do is we secure the application and make it easy for the businesses to focus on their core areas. And this value proposition resonates so beautifully well with SaaS companies, because they know that security is a must-have for their platform, but they do not have the time and the ability to spend time and fix on it because it takes focus away from their growth. So part of my international adoption and my growth story has also been driven mainly by SaaS companies who have their own products, and their customers are asking them, because I'm placing my trust on your product, what is it you're doing about security? And they say, okay, fine, we are partnering with Indusface, which provides a web application firewall, which provides a scanning, here's the report, and meets compliance. So certainly a great traction that they are seeing and big uptake. But as a marketeer, I mean, it's one of those things where now that India is becoming the SaaS capital of the world, I mean, from a growth standpoint, and as a marketer, I am a little bit disappointed that I am not seeing as much growth within the Indian market on the SaaS adoption as much as I'm seeing internationally. Even though Ashish is gloating about me and my international success, I am actually a little bit pained with the fact that Indian SaaS market is growing and Indusface is not part of the journey. Hopefully, with platforms like yourstory and getting the associations of Indusface as an application security provider as a choice with other Desi companies, and that connect will hopefully help us get that acceleration. Of course, we have a few like the Darwinbox and other things that you mentioned, but the number of SaaS companies in India is growing, and we are getting a smaller share of that market. And for me, we should have a leadership position, at least in India. So I see it's a huge opportunity.
Yeah, I'm sure, with the entire push for startups and tech companies from India, even, from the likes of the government bodies like Niti Aayog, creativity from startups is what will really get eyeballs when it comes to growing business. And yourstory, of course, is, very happy to sort of partner with startups such as yours in your journey. And, what has been questioned really over the last 1 year is the growth perspective that people really look at, because we've seen a lot of startups that have seen super fast growth in the first few years, and then they sort of just plateau, and things like the pandemic come and hit, and then the sustainability aspect really gets questioned. So how do you really differentiate between just growth and sustainable growth?
Can I take that? So I think, as I said,
you have touched a very soft spot. Ashish can keep talking about it for hours. Hours. I mean,
we are all ears, Ashish. And
I think the most important thing is growth. I mean, let's not contest that point, and I don't want to contest that point at all. I mean, it is important for every company or every growing company has to grow. Now, growth is a very, very, I would say, a relative statement. For certain investors or certain people the growth function is 100%, 200, 500% growth, etc., etc. And then there are certain people who are happy with maybe 40, 50% growth, etc. Right? The philosophy, and I don't want to kind of contest anybody's growth plans. It is absolutely everybody's own prerogative. But we at Indusface, believe in sustained growth, and sustained growth means we also want to aspire. For example, next year we are projecting to grow at almost 80% at a reasonably good base now, right? And this 80% growth is not by just throwing and sprinkling money and trying to acquire customers at whatever cost and just show bottom line or just show top line, right? We are working, and our model has been that we want to acquire customers with a proper eye and keen eye on the unit economics. We want to make sure that the customer acquisition we are the right customers we're getting acquired with, they stay with us, grow with us, and our cost of acquisition is not skewed. We make sure that our rule of 40, which is kind of currently the buzz in SaaS, where your growth and profitability are in tandem, right? So we are always making sure that we are meeting all the industry benchmarks in terms of growth, etc., etc. But at the same time, we want to keep our unit economics right, make sure that we make money and not just throw money or just acquire customers for showing a growth. I mean, that because that has been our philosophy. We've always done that. So to answer your question, we believe in sustained growth, which essentially means growing at definitely at a great pace, but at the same time make sure that our unit economics are right. We just don't want growth.
Sure, unit economics, of course, is key, and even in terms of what you all bring intrinsically to the table when it comes to sport and cricket. Both of you sort of have common ground there. It's an integral part of your journey. So tell us a bit about how you incorporated those lessons from the pitch and really applied it to running a sustainable startup.
There are several, and I can keep on talking about it, for a while. But I think there are few I can relate to very easily. And I'll tell you one is, of course, that while playing cricket, we always realize that it's a team game. It's not an individual game, right? It's not that if Ashish is good or Venki is good and you're done, right? It is always a team effort, right? To win the cricket. I don't think our businesses are different as well. Right? You have to make sure that you have the right kind of team. You have certain leaders, you have certain people who work hard and it's a team effort. And I think Indusface is a classic example of how the entire team works together. And we just got a great place to work certified. And one of the finding was from where they asked most of our employees, almost 95% of employees said that the biggest thing about Indusface is that we feel that we are wanted, we are making a difference to the company, and we are part of the growth story. Right? That just is very, very satisfying, right? The second aspect about cricket was the handling of pressure, right? I mean, making sure that there are always going to be pressure moments, and how do you kind of handle them? I also had the good fortune of leading my school teams or sometimes even my university teams, and that time you realize that when chips are down, how do you kind of manage things? How do you hold on to stuff? I think those aspects help me a lot in times when there are challenges. So that's the second one. And third is that you have to, at the end of the day, it's only a winner, which is you have to win. Right? You can't, you might have everything, but you also have to win. And I think getting customers, sustainable customers who are going on, putting it on global platform and saying, this is a company we would love to work. They are really good. Their product is good. The service is good. So I think all of those things are definitely engraved within Indusface and will continue to do so.
And I think I would just add, I'm happy that Ashish comes from the old school test match playing days of cricketer turned businessman. I wonder if the current playing crop of business, I mean, some cricketer becomes a businessman, the IPL businessman. I mean, the IPL mentality and the test match mentality are two antipodal. I think test match kind of mentality of sustainability, staying it through works a lot more for business in the long run. than of course, IPL is fantastic, hitting those sixers, hitting those wins, and those entertainment has a big role, and there is a lot of money. But for sustainability, the test match mentality of the grind and sustaining it and enjoying that grind is very much needed, I think. And Ashish, glad that he is from the test match days and those things are applicable. We'll have to wait for one more generation to see if the IPL playing days and how they become a businessman, what kind of a story they tell. We'll find that out later on.
Well, Venki, I think, the silver lining that the pandemic has provided is that the test match mentality is probably back, and we've seen what's really happened with the IPL recently. Yeah. So there you go. Now, closing comments from the both of you in terms of what 2021 really looks like from a business growth perspective. What really are the milestones that you're setting out to achieve?
Ashish, you want
to?
Yeah.
So I think, as I said, with digitalization being the buzzword, everybody is trying to make sure that they have digital presence. So I think from an outlook perspective, it's looking very exciting. We internally are projecting at almost doubling our revenue in the next 12 months, and I think we have all the right pieces in place. Our digital business is growing very, very rapidly, acquiring customers globally. We are working with some of the large partners across the world. We'll make a very large announcement soon. I can't, because we haven't signed, can't make one, but that's another thing which is going to give us again global access to global customers of such partners. And India itself is just, we are seeing newer and newer business segments adopting digitalization and which is kind of leading to more and more customer acquisition. So extremely positive and really looking forward to the next year. Having said that, this is a tough year it is causing a lot of emotional stress. I'm sure all of us are going through. Somebody from our family or somebody from our friends are going through some tough times. So we just hope and pray that everybody remains safe and we get over this soon, quickly and together. And as a company, one other thing we're very, very conscious about is how do we kind of make sure that we are able to make a change, and if we can help some of those, not only our employees but people who need help. So I think that's another added goal to our company, to get empathy and figure out ways to help some of the people where we can make a difference.
Right, Venki, anything that you'd like to add?
I think it's most of it is covered. I would just say that one of the milestone I want to reach is the SaaS companies in India start looking at Indusface as the #1 choice for web application firewall. That's my #1 goal. Of course, my international growth and everything will happen, but in India, I don't want anybody else to. I want to be the leader. So, in fact, in terms of milestone, the next time we talk, Shivani and the rest of the yourstory team, I want to tell a better India story in your story.
Sure, Venki. There you go. Of course, the CMO in you making that marketing pitch can't end without that. So thank you, Venki and Ashish, so much for your time and taking us through what it really takes to run a company with a sustainable business growth model, the fact that unit economics is key, and how to really run a bootstrap company and raise funds at the right time when you really need those investments to back you up, and third-party validation as well as feedback coming in at the right moment to really propel you forward. So wishing both of you a great innings going forward in 2021. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you, Shivani. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Story.